Hey guys, it's about beer 30. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer comes from Brook Brewing Company. They're out of Burlington, Canada. A Canadian beer. This was sent to me by Rico. And let's see if he has anything to say about this. And I apologize, I should have had this ready to go. He says, Nickelbrook Bolshevik Bastard, Imperial Stout, 9% ABV, 70 IBUs. Says, drink fresh, do not age on the back label, no date though. Brewery out of Canada, imported by Esper Beverage Company, Ohio. Said he bought it a couple days ago, sold in 4-packs. So, some of the Canadian breweries are doing some really tasty stuff. So, we'll see where this one ends up and whether it's something you should pick up. And it does have do not age right on the back, drink press. Very unusual for a Russian Imperial Stout at 9%. Unless they throw some coffee or something in there that's going to fade over time. I don't know why they would want you to drink it fresh. So we're going to see. And it still has the sticker on the top of it. He paid $3.25 for it, which is a fairly decent price for 9% Russian Imperial Stout. So, and like I said, there is no date on anywhere according to what Rico has told me, and I don't see anything on there. But it does have the ABV and the IBUs right on the front of the label. And if they want you to drink it fresh, they need to put a date on it. Otherwise, you would think you could sell this beer for a long, long time. And of course, you read the label, it says don't sell her, drink it fresh. So, don't know why they would say that. Maybe they know this beer won't keep very well. I don't know. So, we're about to find out. Because I didn't age it any. I've only had it a week or two or so. And we'll see what it brings to the table. But I can't think of any reason why you couldn't sell our 9% Russian Imperial Stout. Let's see what it brings to the table. It says here, our Nickelbrook Bolshevik Russian Imperial Stout is scientific creation brewed especially for those who aren't afraid of a big and bold flavors. Made with a blend of roasted chocolate and crystal malt, this Imperial Stout exhibits many deep flavors of rich roasted chocolate and dark fruit to counterbalance the sweetness. The Bolshevik Bastard is aggressively hopped to give a rise to this remarkably smooth Russian Imperial Stout. So maybe it's a hop-forward Imperial Stout, according to what the commercial description here on Rate Beer is. So maybe there's some hoppiness that's going to fade over time. I don't know. I don't know, I said. That's all we need to talk about. So while I'm getting the cap off, food pairings for a Russian Imperial Stout, because it goes well with your chocolate dishes. You can have it before dinner, or after dinner, or with a strong dinner. Glassware, pint back, a 9 tumbler snifter. I got my favorite snifter. Oh, it's pitch black coming out of the bottle here. Looks like we might get a little bit of a head generated. Not pouring it down the middle either. So, very good carbonation for a 9% Russian Imperial Stout. And here they're telling me you can sell it, but the bottle says do not. So I would go with what the information on the bottle says and not sell it. Especially if it's supposed to be a hop-forward Russian Imperial Stout. Make your own judgment there, guys. About 2 fingers of head on that very creamy khaki-colored head. And it is very black coming out of the bottle. I see no light coming through it anywhere whatsoever. Rico, thanks again, my brother. Let's get a nose on And I'm getting the rich roasted almost to the burnt characteristics of the malt, some molasses and toffee. Hints of some bittersweet chocolate. Maybe some dark fruit, and of course, it's right out of the fridge, so sometimes that dark fruit comes out after it comes up to room temperature, which I will let it do. Got a very nice sweetness to it, like maybe you had some lactose or something in there. Smells pretty good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. If I can get my big old nose and lips in there, that big old head. Big old head. That's what she said. Now on the taste, I am getting some stronger bitterness in there, so it makes me to think now maybe there is no lactose, because it does have a strong bitterness on the back end of it. I'm not getting a super pungent hop forwardness to it, so not sure why they want you to drink it fresh, guys. I'm really not sure about that. I don't know if it'd be any difference of drinking this fresh, and of course without a date on it, how are we going to know we're drinking it fresh? Why you could not sell this beer for. I don't know what would keep you or wanting to sell this beer. Maybe you guys that can get this beer here in the States or even in Canada, if you're up there watching, to get a 4-pack of this and drink one fresh, and then drink one at 6 months, and maybe drink one at 2 years or a year, and then a second one at 2 years or 5 years, and see if there's any difference. Or if you can get it regularly. I don't know how often. It says here availability is year-round on Beer Advocate. Buy you one now, and then buy a fresher version a year or 2 or 3, maybe even 5 down the road, and maybe you can do a vertical side by side and see how it changed over time with the fresh one and the one that you've aged for a year, 2, 3, or 5. So, not sure why they would want you to drink this fresh. It's very unusual for a 9% Russian Imperial Stout telling you that you shouldn't age, you should drink it fresh. Unless there's some kind of hop forwardness there that's going to fade over time. And I'm not detecting that right now. So, and that head is sticking around. You can still see we've got quite a bit of it. So it's right out of the fridge, 40 degrees. Let me let it warm up. Let her have a taste 2 or 3 and sip on this for a while. Maybe step out on the deck and fire up a Maduro wrapped cigar, a nice deep rich cigar to go with this dark beer, and see where it ends up after it comes up to room temperature. I'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm back. Been sitting on about 30 minutes or so. After I left the camera and went outside, the head just kept growing and kept growing. 10 minutes later, the head was up above the top. It finally subsided and went down. Left an awesome lacing on the glass with that monster head. I'm not going to say it's overcarbonated, but it is well carbonated. If I'd have poured it down the center, it would have been... So I'm glad I poured it fairly easy, because we did get a monster head on this beer. So I actually took a picture of it and sent it to Rico, and he went, "Oh my God!" So yeah, and he said something. He had one and he was going to sell her, and I said, "Well, it says not to sell her it on the bottle." So he said he was probably going to not keep it very long. So, and I can't think of any reason why you couldn't sell her this beer. With the carbonation, I think I would cellar it into a fridge. It's 40, 45, 50 degrees, 55 degrees, somewhere in that area, so the yeast is not going to continue to keep working. If you stick this in a closet that's 70 degrees or more and keep it for a year or 2, it's liable to be a gusher. So maybe that's why they're telling you to go ahead and drink it, because maybe they've seen issues of it being a little overcarbonated if you try to. So anyway, I found it very tasty, guys. A very tasty beer. Getting hints of licorice and dark fruit, plums, dates, raisins, figs, now that it's up to room temperature. Burnt roasted malt. Heavily roasted malt. It's very tasty though. It's very nice beer. Without having any kind of vintage or anything like that on it. Guys, I'm afraid it's not going to get to the A category because they want you to drink it fresh and they did not put a date on it. Maybe because of carbonation or whatever the reason was. Typically, these style of beers you can sell them for quite a while, and they're wanting you to drink it fresh. Maybe because it's going to produce a monster head or be a gusher after a couple of years if you don't sell it correct. So I found it very tasty, but not quite to the A category. It is a well-made beer, and a great beer for the final beer of the evening, which it is for me. So let's do the final chug here. Now that it's warmed up, I am getting some hints of the booziness for 9%, but it's not doing any burning or anything. It does have a strong bitterness to the back end, but it's a decent beer. But like I said, I don't think it's quite to the A category. So in my opinion, it gets a B plus for me. I would give this probably an 88. That's where I would give it. Need to put a date on the beers if they don't want you to sour them. At least a vintage. So, and even now that I've had it, I can't think other than being overcarbonated if you try to sell it, why you couldn't cellar it. So if you stuck it in the fridge where the yeast is not going to continue to work, I don't know why you couldn't keep this beer 2, 3, maybe 5 years. I don't know. I'm not getting any big coffee notes, and it doesn't say any coffee was introduced into this during the brewing process, so I'm not sure. That'd be a good experiment to try and see what you get. From one that's cellared for a year, 2, 3, or even 5, and a fresh one, just to see. So maybe an experiment down the road there, guys. I don't know. 88 for me on this one, guys. Now that it's warmed up, there is a slight booziness to it for 9%. Very surprised I didn't get that when it was right out of the fridge. So it did produce a little bit of that once it warmed up. So over to Beer Advocate, they say 87 in the very good range. I'm pretty close to that with an 88. And over to Rate Beer, they say it's 89. So I'm right in the middle there, 87, 88, and 89. And for our final check-in, we will go over to Untapped, and they have it at 3.73, which is not quite to the B plus range. 2 digits away. 3.75 would be a B plus as far as I'm concerned with their ratings. So it's pretty close. I would just go ahead and give it to B plus from them, and that's where everybody else is putting it. So it's a B plus beer as far as I'm concerned. Still a very tasty beer from the guys up there in Canada from Brook Brewing. Decent. So if you've had this one from Brook, their Bolshevik Bastard Russian Imperial Stout, let me know what you think. I enjoyed it. Not nothing to write home about, but tasty. Thanks, Rico. Appreciate it, sir. Alright, guys. Come on back tomorrow. Let's take something tasty out of the fridge. See you then.